Hello all. So today let us start our discussion on Lyapunov stability criteria. Now, last two videos I have discussed different means measures by which we can figure out that whether our system is stable or not. We had discussed the concept of uniform stability and uniform exponential stability and then uniform asymptotic stability, and also established the fact that only for linear system, whether linear time varying or linear time invariant, our uniform asymptotic stability implies uniform exponential stability or vice versa. In case of our linear system, if it is maintaining or exhibiting an asymptotic change, better to say the solution of the state equation exhibits a kind of asymptotic change that clearly indicates it is governed by our uniform, means it can only follow an exponentially decaying envelope. So we have proved everything. Now, what is the requirement of studying Lyapunov stability criteria here? The first and foremost answer to this question is that if you analyze, or rather if you just watch the videos once again in last two videos, you must have realized that you need to figure out the equation or the solution of the state equation. You cannot circumvent the solving of those equation and find out means can proceed with your stability analysis. However, as we know that it is not always possible to find out the solution, and even if it is possible, it is not at all always a very convenient measure, or it's very easy measure to take that kind of solution. It, it may involves a huge amount of energy to calculate the solution. But if we are concerned about the stability, stability means we just need to understand that whether my system is stable or not, and also if it is stable, then in which region or in what region it is stable. That you may find some interest in that. But explicit analysis of your solution, how things are going to change with time, that is not required as long as stability perspective, means uh, our stability is concerned. So Lyapunov gives us a tool to Lyapunov, some people say Lyapunov, he gives us a tool to bypass that kind of means complicated mathematics, and he started his means proposition from a very basic physical understanding. So what is that physical understanding? Let us consider two pendulum. One is an ideal pendulum oscillating or executing its oscillation inside a means closed chamber where there is no air. And also we can consider that the pivot point of that pendulum is friction free. So pendulum is executing at means no means no restraint is there, or no constraint is there, like it is executing a free motion and there is no restraining force acting on that pendulum. Now for that pendulum, if you just apply bit perturbation by any means, then you will see that the pendulum for infinite time it will oscillate with that same means like the angular span of the pendulum will remain same. The oscillation will not going to die with time. This is because the initial amount of energy that you are going to put in your pendulum is the pendulum has no scope to dissipate it. In a nutshell, what we can say that our pendulum is not a dissipative system. When we consider it is oscillating inside a closed chamber and there is totally free from any sort of restraining force. Now consider the similar pendulum just outside of that cage so that the bob experience air friction and also you have changed the pivot point and made it a normal one, so the pendulum will experience also some rotational friction in that pivot point. Now your pendulum is executing a motion that is experiencing some restraining force. So what you will see that is quite obvious for a means what we observe in our daily life, that if we perturb a pendulum, it will exhibit a damped oscillation. Gradually the oscillation damped and becomes zero. Now while we are considering about all this in terms of oscillation, and it may gives you an impression that if I am talking about oscillation, still I am considering the two state variables. Like oscillation, if we are thinking about it, comprises two variables. One is the displacement, another one is the velocity. If one is absent, like if displacement is zero or velocity is zero, then this oscillation cannot take place. In I observed that in your last semester, Professor Noshkot discussed phase plane. So if you for frictionless pendulum, if you have an oscillation, then it will give you a phase portrait like this, a closed curve in your theta omega plane, or you can say that you can define your new state variables like x2, that is basically omega, and x1, that is basically theta. This will give you a phase plane, and in that phase plane you will see that your frictionless pendulum will form this kind of trajectory. Now you can argue that in frictionless pendulum, obviously when we are drawing this, that means somehow I know the state position, like after a certain time t, we must know this point, and for knowing that point you must know the solution, because until unless you know the solution you cannot calculate that point, right? But what Lyapunov means, what else we can interpret from this, like as there is no such mechanism to dissipate the energy of your system, the system becomes purely oscillatory in nature, and for oscillatory system we do not need, even if we do not calculate the state solution, but still if we somehow can establish that the system is not dissipative, then its solution is not going to die, its solution is not going to converge anywhere. That is the very basic understanding what we are going to apply in Lyapunov case. So instead of calculating the explicit solution, here we will calculate the system energy and also the rate of change of energy. Because in this pendulum case, if you see, I have already uploaded another video from another channel, a very preliminary video. I put these videos in description box, so please go and watch that video. Today I am feeling somewhat feverish, so I may make some kind of stammering, means or means all the time you may not get what I am trying to deliver. So in that case, please get back to me. And if you want to discuss anything, it is better that you take that means total screenshot of your video and with timestamp and get back to me. Well, so this is the case with dissipative system, means a system that is not dissipative in nature. But what would happen if we consider a pendulum that is losing energy? You will get a trajectory like this. This is pendulum with friction. So for pendulum with friction, we can see that the trajectory in phase plane is executing a kind of spiral motion, and that is inward motion. It is trying to. So again, the question may come that we need to figure out the solution, explicitly calculate the solution. But to be very precise, here knowing that the pendulum energy is not constant, or pendulum, better to say pendulum rate of change of energy is negative, that is sufficient for us to conclude that its trajectory will means is going to shrink. This trajectory is going to die down. There is no way for this pendulum to violate this condition. Without energy, a system cannot do anything. Its trajectory cannot go anywhere, cannot become unstable. An unstable system, a system can only become unstable if it preserves or means possesses energy that is beyond its tolerance limit. But if the system itself, consider a very young kid. I'm talking about a young kid of 5 to 10 years old. Now, when that kid is healthy and it's means having good food and in a good mood, then if he is having a kind of impending home task, then he or she will be busy in doing that home task. But when he can means it may happen that the kid is a very good kid, and means he is not going to do anything undesirable, and very sober, and means always maintain the discipline. But it may happen that the kid is not that kind of means very decent kid. When he or she will not have any home task or anything to do, then he or she will start or may irritate or means cause any kind of slight disturbance to the other people, only when he or she is not having means anything to do or any home task. So try to note the phrase. What we can understand that when the kid is suffering, obviously suffering, or means we should always pray that the kid should be free of any sort of illness. But when the kid is suffering, that means the kid is losing his or her energy. And when the kid is having home tasks, that means he or she is getting a channel to dissipate their energy. Either when he or she is sick or ill, he or she is spending energy to combat with the disease, and when he or she is doing some task, then they are means you must aware of that common phrase that idle brain is devil workshop, that comes from that Lyapunov theory, that if you allow someone to be idle, then he will sometimes he may feel clueless what to do with that energy, and then he will start doing evil activities. May not be the case always, but sometimes it may be the case. So that is what the basic understanding of Lyapunov, that if you cannot allow your system to dissipate its energy, it may become unstable. And unstable system means its trajectory is going to is not going to converge. Now, uh, here this is our equation 1. This is our common well-known equation. Linear system may be time varying or time invariant with our initial condition xt naught is equal to x naught. The condition that implies all solution of 1 uh, are such that, means all solutions of 1 will tend to 0 are such that your this gentleman norm xt square is going to 0, and it is obvious, like whether it is you may say, if your system trajectory, why this is monotonically decrease is important. Now if you consider a case, suppose if you solve it, then what you will get, you will get something like this. So apparently it is like the value is increasing. The value of x is increasing from -10 to 0. But if you take x, this norm x square, then what it would become? It would become a trajectory that starts at 100 and then decay to this 0 value, right? So this is the case. Now see the your, just a minute, give me a minute. So all the solution, if they abide by this constraint that norm xt square monotonically decrease with time t tends to infinity, then what immediate conclusion we can draw? Before we drawing any other conclusion, let us do a bit mathematics. The derivative of the scalar function xt square is what? First of all, xt square can be expressed like x transpose t xt. Now if you find out differentiation with respect to time, then it will give you d dt, and then finally it will give you x transpose t a t plus a x t. Now this situation is kind of so basically, if you consider that the positive definiteness, idea of positive definiteness, negative definiteness, then you must find that for sign definite matrix, they are kind of bounded by, they are either upper bounded or lower bounded by some means, like here if at plus a is a sign definite matrix, then what we can say, that say at plus a is negative definite, then we can say that at plus a is less than mi, where m is a minus mi, where m is a positive constant. So what does this indicate? That these are like this matrix is upper bounded by an identity matrix, and obviously means the solution what you will have here. If you once you get a bound like this, you can write that this one will always be, the solution will be governed by now. See that when you can write it in this way, the whole thing you can consider it is like you are having d dt of, say, any arbitrary function. Let us take f of t is less than is equal to minus m f of t, where m is a positive constant. Then you can always predict, like by equating it is equal to minus mft, you can figure out the exponential rate of decay, and then obviously your solution will always lie under that exponential trajectory, right? Obviously here there are certain considerations that we must not forget, like here it is at plus t plus at, but if we can establish this like at plus a is less than is equal to minus ami for all the time, then we can always get this kind of consideration, right? Now let us define what do we mean by quadratic Lyapunov function. This quadratic Lyapunov function is defined as x transpose qt xt. What is qt? Qt is assumed to be symmetric and continuously differentiable function. So this is the quadratic form. Quadratic form will take a sign, or we can have a sign definiteness once we assign all this to means once we can assign a sign definiteness to q, then our quadratic form can exhibit that sign definiteness. So this qt is assumed to be sign definite. Now just a minute. So qt is assumed to be symmetric and continuously differentiable. So if that is the nature of the q, and then what you will get that if for any xt q tx, if we get such a q, and if we can check what is the behavior of xt qt xt for t greater than is equal to t0. Now in order to find out that behavior, basically we need to evaluate the rate of change of energy, means this thing, this, just let me check whether it's calculated or not. Yes, this xt qtx, this often we call it like energy like function. This term is very funny and also having a huge impact, like although this x transpose qt xt is it may not represent any physical energy, but it actually gives you an impression of your physical energy. And uh, we can show that this, like we know that generally, like from one form of energy, this will means this will like, if this energy like function exhibits a decaying nature for this given system, then this like this the original system, the physical energy function will also means decay with time. Now, the two nature of this QT must be symmetric and definite. So once we do that, we will get it like this one. Interesting things here to know that this behavior, that as we know that for quadratic matrix, it is always upper or lower bounded for means its values. So if we say Qt is a positive definite, then two way we can express it. One is that for a positive, there exists a positive number eta greater than 0 such that Qt greater than is equal to eta I, where I is an R cross N identity matrix. I is like 1, 1, 1 like that, right? So this I is an identity matrix. Now for all eta greater than 0, the same statement can be understood like xt qt x less than greater than is equal to eta x square. That is just I discussed a few minutes back. And this must hold good as we are dealing with time varying system in general. So this must hold good for all the time and for all the x. So this gives us rise of this condition xtqx. We can have a positive definite constant matrix M. Try to realize the difference that this one is a variable matrix and this one is a constant matrix. For an example, you can take like, you can have one matrix like 1 plus sorry 1 0 sorry 1, let us take 1 0.5 0.5 so okay 0.5 1 plus et. This is a positive definite symmetric matrix. Let this be playing the role of our Q, right? Now let us consider another one, that is our EM is so can't we say that for all t this condition holds good if our x is like this? Now we will proceed to discuss the uniform stability theorem in light of this kind of energy like things. So equation 1, that is our old known equation 1, x dot is equal to at xt, xt dot is equal to x0, is uniformly stable if there exists a qt. Here I am writing r n cross n, but it can be a means complex matrix also. In that case it must be a Hermitian matrix. such that for all t it is symmetric, continuously differentiable. It needs to be only symmetric and continuously differentiable. Here that invertibility is not playing a great role. Only we need continuous, symmetric and continuously differentiable. But can we somehow conclude that if it is symmetric and continuously differentiable and also exhibits sign definiteness, then it will always become like your invertible or not? That we need to investigate. However, means if it Qt satisfies, we are not saying that Qt is positive definite or negative definite, but we are claiming that Qt is such that it follows the two bound eta I, means it is both upper and lower bounded, where eta and rho are negative and positive constant. And this one, this how you can get this one, this is coming from somewhere I have, yeah, from this equation 4. If you are having doubt about equation 4, you can consider it like multiplication of three numbers. You are doing d dt of a, b, c, and then you will get it like that normal multiplication rule, a dot bc plus a b dot c plus is ABC dot, right? However, as this sum is commutative, so what you can do, you can write AC dot B and A ABC dot, and then your AB dot C, because this summation is commutative. So you just swap the position of second and third entry, and then you will see that you will be going to, means you are going to get this one, this bracketed term, right? Now think about it, that now this is for uniform stability. We are going to prove it that given any t naught and x naught, the corresponding solution xt of 1, such that we are getting from our previous two equations, we can write that this one, what we can write, it will give us, see, this is not just a mere equation, this gives us an interesting things. If you open your eyes, you will see this gives you what? This gives you energy at a particular time, and this is what, this is your initial energy, right? So this 2 has been or means this 2 can be expressed in this way, and obviously this is going to be less than is equal to 0, because you are going to evaluate that something that is, this one is sign definite for all such t. So irrespective of your argument, it will always give you, like you are summing up all negative numbers together, so they will always produce, the result will always remain negative. Now using that inequality in 5, what we can write that since this one is a positive definite one, so this can be written like uh, xt qt xt less than is equal to x naught q naught t naught x naught less than p x naught square, right? Now that gives us what we can assign that eta xt square is less than is equal to p x naught square. Like this one, this is also a quadratic form, and we have already mentioned that qt is upper bounded by and lower bounded by this, so we can replace this one by eta I. Like what I am trying to say, this gentleman is greater than is equal to this one. This gentleman is greater than is equal to this eta xt square, and this gentleman is less than is equal to that I have already written. Perhaps if you want more clarification, we could write it like this. So then we can drop these two intermediate stage, like just a minute, there is some problem in my sheet. So we get this, and therefore we can find out a bound that how xt will be means what is the condition of uniform stability. That means xt will always be confined within a region, and that you can say the region periphery of that region will be independent of t naught. So here we can prove that this rho and eta, they are independent of t naught. So this is our system is uniformly stable. Now we can do one small manipulation to show that how this we can apply here. Like here we have taken a small example. This is our A matrix. This is our AT. So here we have taken qt is equal to I. Qt, two condition of qt is that qt must be continuous function for all, means qt must be symmetric and having continuous entry, and qt like qt must oblige the must be must follow this equation 5, and where is equation 5, equation 5 and equation 6. So obviously for I, how can we select I here? See, I can be selected because your I can be written like I less than is equal to, say, rho I less than is equal to eta I, where rho is what? Rho is your anything greater than 1, and eta is what? Eta is anything that is in this range. So you can see the bounds, they are the bound. So in this way I can also satisfy the condition 5, and then for condition 6 we need to check whether condition 6 is getting verified or not. Here we can see that condition 6 yield this condition selecting qt is equal to I in some way giving us a leverage, because q dot t will become 0. So it will boil down to xt qt xt is equal to xt t square. So we are getting these values. Then we can find out if at greater than is equal to 0 for all t, then hypothesis of equation 6 are getting satisfied. Now the system is uniformly stable if our at is non-negative and continuous for all t. Now we will go and check the condition for uniform exponential stability condition. We will not see uniform asymptotic stability for linear system, because uniform asymptotic stability and uniform exponential stability are same. So uniform exponential stability, what it states, the linear state equation 1 is uniformly exponentially stable if there exists a n cross n matrix function qt. Although I write R n cross n, but it can be C n cross n also. For all t, it is symmetric, continuously differentiable, and like the previous case, here we have equation 9. Equation 9 is just that of equation 5, and that equation 6 is slightly modified. Instead of writing it less than is equal to 0, now equation 6, the right side of equation 6 is being replaced by a definite negative quantity, that is minus vi, where we have eta p and v all are finite positive constant, right? All are finite positive constant. So how can we prove it? It's very simple to prove. We have this, then for all t greater than 0 we are getting this value. Now from 9 what we can write, this is this we have already proved. Then just by doing some manipulation, what we can write, that manipulation and side change will yield this one. So these two together means combining this one with this one. So what we will get, this is less than is equal to minus v by rho xt qt xt. Now as we are getting xt qt xt, so this again will give us what? This will give us further that this is less than is equal to e to the power minus v by rho t minus t naught x naught t q t naught x naught, right? So this way we can prove that our system is having uniform exponential stability condition. And again if we sum on that equation 9, that gives us xt square is less than is equal to 1 upon n, this value. Then obviously what we will have finally will have is governed by this whole thing. So this is the end result, and what we want to show for uniform exponential stability, it must be the region within which the system is stable, that the periphery of the region should be independent of our initial time. In n-dimensional plane, you can consider of an n-dimensional ball whose radius is independent of time t naught, whenever your system is within that, you are getting this uniform exponential stability, and then you are having this one, that so we take this system here. What we are doing is that we select a queue. Obviously the queue is selected in such a way that queue is going to be a signed definite one, provided AT is continuously differentiable. Now what we will have here, that Qt minus this should be less than is equal to 0. So that gives us a condition that this is equal to, like, Qt minus eta I, that should be positive definite. So that gives us all the leading minors must be greater than is equal to 0, and the whole thing for positive semi definiteness we are considering, the whole thing should be this way. So this gives us finally a result that this is a very crucial stage from where we can conclude that it is like problem is that I cannot write here with this a dot t should be your at minus v by 2. So we can select a small positive constant v to satisfy this. Now if we try to summarize what it's will observe that it is not uncommon to sacrifice some generality for sake of getting some means for sake of avoiding some intricate mathematical manipulation. That is a common trick in our stability analysis. What we do is that sometimes we take a higher bound, sometimes we take a lower bound. Just we try to ensure that if it is fall within a range, it is going to converge, that is also not our concern. If it is bounded and if we know that the two extreme are is following some pattern or something, then we can conclude the things that is in between these two barrier will also follow a certain pattern, and that is what we need, right? So what we can show you, if we go for a graphical illustration, we will get something like this. Here you can see that for different value of xtqx, I have drawn it for different level. We are having a different value of, you can say, different energy. And just like your atomic orbit, here also you can see that if you increase the energy, it is moving outward, and that is quite obvious. Like if you have extra energy, that your system state variables value will also be, you will have large oscillations, large velocity present in your system. So seemingly it's all good. We have learned something that is very powerful, gives us all the idea. Just one, as you know that I have a bad habit of introducing, means I'm a very negative person. I always find out faults in everything. So to expose this shortcoming of this idea, let us just take, or rather revisit once again the example that I have discussed here. Now, obviously, you may means question me, sir, that what's new here, because it is you who discussed this idea. Now you are saying that this is not flawless. So why do you discuss something, or why did you discuss something that is not flawless? Why don't you discuss something that is flawless? To answer it, that there doesn't exist anything in reality that can be so general, so means perfect, flawless, that it becomes applicable to all the situation. Okay, so this is our XT, and what this example we have already discussed, and what we observed that we can have it. This one is like for AT. Okay, so just let me copy the whole solution. Then it will become easier for us to concentrate. So just let me show you one thing, then I will go to this one. Yeah. So what we are getting here is something. Yes, the calculated value of this was, yeah, this was the calculated value of AT plus T. What we observed that this AT plus T, what happened? Oh God. Is this much, and from that we conclude that at least AT should be greater than is equal to 0, right? Now let us take one example where we replace this gentleman, by doing this, like, now what we are getting 80 greater than is equal to 2. So that is sufficient enough to go for our, means this will always hold good. Now see, uh, let us investigate that whether this system will, so clearly with this definition of our AT, our system is uniformly stable. Uh, but the question is that whether it is uniformly exponentially stable or not. So, in order to investigate it, it is difficult for us to verify that whether condition of equation 9 and 10 are getting satisfied or not. Rather, if I can give you one solution of this system, this if you solve, it is very easy for us to see that you will get something xt is equal to, So clearly this is uniformly stable because it is upper bounded by that term 1, or means 1 into norm of x naught, but it is not that exponentially decaying in nature. The xt, that is not going to decay. One part of xt, that is 1 plus e to the power minus t, namely x1t of xt, that is not going to means die down completely with time. So it is not uniformly exponentially stable. So here lies the question, that first question, that whether we why we came here in Lyapunov. First, we want to circumvent calculation of that transition matrix using Peano-Becker series and explicit calculation of solution. So we came here. Now, what we observe, that it is difficult for us. It is not like our Routh-Harris kind of calculation. Sometimes we can figure out, for simple system we can figure out qt and we can verify, but we must keep it in our mind that in general, if for a selected q our system fails to comply with the requirement, that doesn't imply our system is unstable. Unlike Routh-Harris, once you get this that sign change in your first column or something, you can conclude that there are unstable element. Here, the case is quite different. It is like you form a Routh table, you get a sign change, and then you will be means your system may be unstable or may not be unstable. In general, I am talking about, and it may happen that if you form another Routh table for this, like in the analogy of Routh table is unique, means if it fails, then it gives you a clear indication that system is unstable. But here the difficulty with Lyapunov is that if one Lyapunov function, that xt, I am talking about this gentleman, its selection heavily depend on this qt, like this energy like function, and here where it is, oh god, yes. So one energy like function fails to comply the requirement of certain stability analysis cannot imply that your system is, in general, we cannot conclude that your system is stable or unstable. So you need to compute that qt for this means do several analysis to find out that qt, and eventually you will reach to a conclusion that whatever we have discussed as of now, that are not going to offer any advantage in comparison with that direct approach where we just figure out the solution and then study the solution nature. It will also, by doing several iterations, it may need several iterations, and that will give us the similar kind of trouble. So now in the next video we will see that how this method can give us something good, or means something not good, rather it's something plausible solution to the problem.